Our attention is the product these days. So where we put our attention and what we say and how we say it is going to mean everything. Where is our attention going? Where is our intention? Are we seeking first the kingdom, or is our heart doing something else? I've been to the psychiatric units and the treatment centers, and I feel that I have gotten what I need to get out of these places. Labor and the expression of worth. I come from nowhere. Although I appropriate, I have no culture. I have read that a true haiku has to do with nature. I'm addressing the nature of this consciousness, right? We can't truly get away from nature, and we can't truly separate the subjective conscious experience from nature, even though that experience tried to somehow separate itself through both reason and religion. Epigenetics, trauma can somehow be passed down through genetics, which really speaks to the Judeo-Christian understanding of generational curses, right? A heaviness coming with us, even written into our DNA. And it is in this way that we may allow our rational mind and our poetic, mystical mind to commune. As science begins to help us to understand the depth observances that were going on in those of us who had our hearts turned toward the eternal. I have deep respect for the journey that we must go on to finally exhaust our rational mind. It's good to understand that to exhaust our rational mind does not mean that we have to become the smartest person in the room. It's just a path that we go down. It's an initiation ceremony. It's necessary these days because the rational mind must be integrated to have a more whole mind at this point. If the rational mind is set on just judging all of the past spiritual practices as outdated, then we're not going to really be able to have a whole understanding of the human experience, and therefore our compassion is going to be lacking. In general, we're going to have a deep lack of love, a deep lack of rootedness in the one. My biological family, my people, seem to have dealt with some kind of neurological imbalance, which results in a sense of separation. Could it be described like that? Epigenetically expressed trauma? Yes. Some might call it a generational curse. It doesn't matter what lens, whether it's a rational or a mystical lens that we look at this heaviness that my brother and my father and I have dealt with. When my friend told me, Trav, no one wants to invest in a sinking ship, I realized I'm going to have to dig something out and I'm going to have to show my worth. You may interview anyone who has known me. Not all of them will say they had a positive interaction with me, but from what I understand and what I've been told by my friends is that they do not doubt my authenticity, and they see the work of depth that I have done in my life to try to stay healthy. I've posted videos about this in the past. I've posted a video called Hope Night, which describes what it's like to come to that edge of sanity as this darkness, this epigenetic expression of trauma. In my life, it resulted in a lot of self-hate, devoted self-hate, calling myself names in the mirror. It was an unconscious self-hate until I went to a therapist and I began to take an honest and less critical look inside. The only look I could take inside was critical. It was like it's a lens of criticism. It has taken my entire adult life to arrive at this place where I can speak about it in this fashion, where it's like I'm saying I am looking for help, but I know that there is no use in sounding an emergency help signal. Because I've done that. I've been to the emergency rooms, I've been to the psychiatric units and the treatment centers, and I feel that I have gotten what I need to get out of these places, and I feel that the next step is somehow finding myself working in a community. I have developed some kind of vision of community. I am working harder than I have ever worked in my life just to stay in this space that I'm displaying to you now, to be able to describe the intensity of the situation. Maybe you can hear the intensity in my voice. Some say that the rational mind is coming home, like a prodigal son of sorts who created a nuclear weapon and is kind of like, okay, I've got my cleverness way out ahead of my heart. And I think this is the story of humanity right now. I think some of us are just possibly, we're feeling this. That's the story that I tell right now to make sense of my life. Like, why are you down so far, son? I began reading Steinbeck this morning. The Moon is Down. The introduction helped me to understand that it was an intentional work of propaganda. They were smuggling translated The Moon is Down text into Europe, a death sentence to be found with one of these. Propaganda or hope. We must be wise as we create our own rhetoric, right? As we begin branding and marketing our own ideology and understanding of the world. There has to be some kind of consciousness around this, but it appears that we're not quite done with that part of our human experience yet. We've heard that the pen is mightier than the sword, and I've also heard that our attention is the product these days. So where we put our attention and what we say and how we say it and what the intention is in our words is going to mean everything. Fred Rogers said that it's very difficult to make some kind of wholesome and helpful broadcast attractive. So there is this one way to go about social media where we're just trying to get attention, right? Just do something crazy and make up a better dance. I love dance and I love art, and I love this art project that we're in. That's definitely the poetic has so much to say around and in all of this. So not to discount anyone's approach, but it is important, I believe, that we have some depth, that we communicate our depth, that where we put our attention is important. Where are our first fruits going? Where is our attention going? Where is our intention? Are we seeking first the kingdom? Or is our heart doing something else? Chris Farley, John Belushi, these men who got really good at getting our attention, right? Making us laugh. Also representations of the deep hunger. Guys who helped us to understand, man, it's so essential as we're gaining an audience that we just learn from everybody who goes before us, right? The 70s, George Carlin, oh my gosh. There was this beautiful comedic thing, this absurdity that was opened up. Andy Kaufman, yes, I love it all. I remember how amazing I felt when my dad was like, yeah, you can listen to Richard Pryor with me. Oh, he's gonna cuss, man. Oh, he's gonna drop the F-bomb a whole bunch. My dad loved Richard Pryor, John Belushi, George Carlin, yeah. We're looking at the world through a critical lens, through a comedic lens, through the lens of absurdity. Monty Python. Let's just look at ourselves. This is what they were doing. They were helping us to see who we are, shining a light on those inward thoughts. And we were saying, oh my gosh, there it is right up on the screen. Yeah, I like that. Did I get that